Welcome to episode 26 of A Message From. We're your hosts. I'm Alyson.
I'm Edward.
And I have a story.
Okay. I mean,
you're probably going to hate it. You're going to hate it. I know you're going to hate it.
How long do you think this story is going to take?
I'll make it super quick. I was on a walk the other day, shortly after we recorded the last episode, and I was thinking about the last episode, and now I don't even remember what the connection was between my thoughts on the last episode and this realization I had.
This is already going really well. This is going really well.
I remembered another celebrity sighting that I had completely forgotten about. And I don't remember how this connects, like what triggered this memory in my mind. But can you guess what kind of celebrity it was?
It's either a soap star, a wrestler, or that's it.
A wrestler, of course.
Bingo.
How have I seen so many of them? It's wild. But the gym that I used to go to back in Michigan was the gym that like the professional wrestlers would go to work out when they were in town for a show. Mm-hmm. And I saw Daniel Bryant there, which like if you're a wrestling fan, you know who Daniel Bryant is. I was never a fan of him because he was like slightly after my time of like being really into wrestling, but I still recognized him like standing so close to me, right next to me.
Okay. And truly, how did you connect that from last week's episode?
Honestly, I wish I could remember. Like there was something in my mind that triggered it when I was thinking about the last episode with my sister, and now I just have no idea.
I was going to say, were you thinking of 2 episodes ago with your mother?
I swear I wasn't. I mean, I could have been, but
well, I guess
whatever.
we'll never really get to the bottom of this. But another person you can add to your very long list of F-list, D-list celebrities sightings.
At least F-list. Sorry.
Oh, my chair's so squeaky today. Sorry. Well, that's fun for you.
Yeah.
I got to travel last week.
How was it? Where'd you travel?
I went to a very, very small town in the middle of Castilla-La Mancha. Well, it's not technically in the middle of it, actually. It's quite towards the coast-ish. Anyway, like an hour from the coast. Not important. Went to a city called Almanza, but to visit a friend. He had like a party there or whatever. Very fun. But I was like very out of practice with the whole travel thing, which you have discussed while you went to New York. And it's real. I mean, I feel like I've gotten over the hump. Like I'm good to go now. But that's like the first legitimate travel situation that wasn't in a car since February 2020.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's weird.
It was, yeah. I was like overly anxious for no reason.
That's what it is, the anxiety. I'm even having so much anxiety planning for my upcoming trip. I think because it's such a big trip to Spain. To España and Francia.
You never replied to my voice message yesterday. Are you leaving to go to France earlier?
I never even listened to the voice message.
Should we listen to it live on the pod?
Let me tell you. Mm-hmm. What is also causing me a lot of stress because I'm out of practice with it is just like being around people and having interactions in public. I had a work event yesterday.
What do you mean? Was it on Zoom?
No, like in person.
Oh.
It was an in-person work luncheon thing. And when I got home, I did swing by Target on my way home. I had a couple of things I needed to return. And of course, I ended up leaving the store with a bag full of stuff.
Classic.
But we will not talk about that. I got home. It was like 8 p.m. and I was exhausted. I was so tired. I was like falling asleep for no reason. And I was just like, I am so out of practice with like interacting with people, making a long drive in the car. Just like, wow. It took a lot out of me. So sorry, I completely forgot to listen to your message. But
No, it's fine. It's fine. I saw today when I texted you that you had listened to it, and I thought, oh, she's better than this, I guess.
Yeah, well, so my Airbnb host
Yeah, that was good. Would you like to try that again?
I would like to try that again because I don't know what words just came out of my mouth. My Airbnb host in Paris sent me a message yesterday, super friendly, saying like, hi, how are you? I hope everything's going well. If you want to come to Paris a few days early, I don't have anyone else booked. Like, you can come free of charge. Like, do you know the area? I was like, oh my gosh.
So
that is so sweet.
In the message that you neglected to listen to, I was like, that is very nice, but also like very, very random.
Yeah, very random as well.
Like, does she not think she's going to get somebody beforehand? Or like, is it too late for someone to schedule? But like, you can last minute book things all the time. So I was like, she just doesn't want to like have it open. Like, I'm very confused.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm also confused by that. Because there is quite a bit of time still for someone to book. They could book.
Right.
But I'm wondering also if maybe it's because like I booked such a short time there. Like, I'm only staying there for 2 nights. Maybe with her other bookings, it's not like she doesn't imagine she'll get another person with like a 1 night or 2 night booking.
Right.
It could be that. I don't know, but it could also be because I try to send like really nice, friendly messages to hosts when I request to book their place.
You don't write stone cold bitch messages to your Airbnb hosts?
No, of course not. So maybe, I don't know, everyone's just been really nice. Like I said, my Airbnb host from Nice like straight up called me and texted me and was like,
did she call you like on the actual phone or like through WhatsApp?
On the actual phone, yeah.
Well, maybe she has free mobile.
She probably does have free mobile, which don't even get me started on what a racket cell phone plans are in the United States.
Oh, actually, I was chatting with our girl Natty G, right? Friend of the pod, who just recently moved to London, and she just got her phone plan in the UK, and she was like, do American people know how phone companies are absolutely ripping their money out of their wallets?
Honestly, I don't think people know. I really don't think people know. And it's a huge problem. It's the same in Canada too. They're just snatching people's money. Like, what you pay for 1 year worth of cell phone service here would honestly probably cover like 15 years in Europe.
Oh my God.
I'm not even joking.
I pay 20 euros a month. And that's like the high-end tariff. 20 euros a month for 60 gigs of data.
It's insane.
And there's this like weird thing called like, there's different passes with my company. Like social pass, chat pass, like map pass, video pass, game pass, whatever. Which means that if you pay for those, the apps that are included with them don't actually like use your data. And automatically I get chat and social pass for free with my tariff. So
that's perfect.
I'm like, it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, WhatsApp, Gmail, like everything. I only use data on Spotify, Google Maps, and then whatever the fuck else I want to use. It's wild. They just told me I had too much data rollover. I was like, yeah, it's going to give me 60 gigs, and I had 80 already. So like, of course I have too much. Take it. I don't care. Take it. Throw it away.
Yeah, get rid of it. I don't need it.
Wild.
It's insane. Yeah, it was the same in France.
Oh my God, yeah, that was...
And this was back before, like, when we were there, it was before, like, widespread unlimited data plans. So...
Where? In the U.S.?
In the United States.
No.
Like, I remember at that time, like, before I went to France, I feel like we were still what was it? Like, you got like 5 gigs a month or something?
In France?
Was like, no, at home in the United States.
I always had unlimited data in the US.
I didn't always have unlimited data. So,
Interesting.
yeah. The amount of data that we had in France was still wild, like 50 gigs or something.
Yeah, it was like 50 gigs, which I remember like never using it because I was afraid that it was going to like go away because I just had no context of like what is a gig?
How much
does a gig go away for? And I have never needed to know that. So
lucky you.
So anyway, this woman calls you, niece woman.
I was sleeping though. The time difference, I mean, I did request to book the place. It was probably like 8 or 9 p.m. something here. So obviously middle of the night for her. But then obviously when she got up in the morning and like saw the request and like accepted it and everything, she called me. I did not even hear my phone ring, but it, like I said, is like middle of the night.
Oh my God.
And
my
then she
phone
sent
is
me a
on
text message.
do not disturb mode. It wouldn't even ring.
I mean, just super nice and friendly and like asking me if I'm familiar with the area. Like, everyone's being so nice.
Well, let's get back to the root of the situation here. Are you going to be leaving me earlier to go and hang out in Paris for free in your Airbnb by yourself?
Well, so here's the tricky thing.
I don't see anything very tricky about this, but enlighten me.
I don't want to leave you early. And like, I want to spend more time with you. But it would also be super nice to get to Paris a day early because I'm literally going to be there for such a short period of time. Like, straight up 2 days. I've got tickets to the Louvre. I've got tickets to Versailles. And like, that's it. That's all I'm going to have time to do. But also, I don't even know if I would be able to switch my flight. And if I did switch my flight, I literally would only switch it to like the night before. So we wouldn't be missing out on any time together. We just wouldn't be sleeping in 2 separate rooms next to each other, not communicating for like 8 hours.
I don't know. Sure.
But
sure.
yeah, I don't think I'll even be able to switch my flight anyway. I know you're upset about
Well,
this.
the fact that you would even consider switching your flight, I think really says it all.
Am I uninvited now? Would you pass up like free days in Paris?
Well, it's circumstantial. If I was just going to Paris and not anywhere else, sure, I would absolutely hit that up.
Well, I think it's a moot point because I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I'm pretty sure I bought the cheapest Iberia flight possible.
Yeah, did you get
so
that? Oh.
They're basically going to be like, no, you can't change your ticket. Are you kidding me? We're already strapping you to the wing of the plane and forcing you to hold onto your bag the whole flight.
That's literally what happened to me. I was leaving Almanza on a train on the Renfe, and this girl and I ended up like coming and going on the same trains. And when we arrived, I'm like, oh, like, what time's your train on Sunday again? And she was like, mine's at 7. I was like, oh shit, mine's at 7:15. And she was like, yeah, I'm on the Abe, which is like the high-speed train. And I look at mine and I was like, I'm not on the Abe. I'm on the Intercity. And she was like, what time, how long is it going to take? And I was like, I leave at 7:15 and I get there at like 10. And she got there like in an hour.
Oh my
maybe
God.
Like hour 15. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then mine was late. But we went and we asked the guy, and I was like, even though I've been speaking Spanish all weekend, like my brain needs a break. And I was like, can you talk to him for me? And she was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, yeah, we can see if we can change it. Just maybe you can get on the same one as her, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, what tariff do you have? And I was like, showed it to him. And he was like, oh, no, you have the basic tariff. We can't do anything for you. And she looked at me and she was like, Edward, you have the basic bitch tariff. You can't change anything. And she sent it to the group. And I was so embarrassed.
I mean, that's basically my life. I always get the basic bitch tariff for everything.
So
and then
I didn't even think about it. And usually,
like,
out of practice, I would have obviously paid 4 more euros to take the Abe. But it just didn't happen because I'm so out of practice. And there was an Abe coming after my train left and got there before my train arrived.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, now you'll know for next time.
Yeah. So, whatever. I made it back.
Yeah.
I made it back. And I saw the end of the Euro Cup, so
Which was incredible.
it was incredible. But unfortunately, we don't have any time to talk about it up top. We're going to take a break now, and we'll come back.
With a message.
Oh, yes, of course.
Welcome back. Up next, we have a message from Lauren, a longtime listener, but first-time caller. Lauren and I went to, I was going to say high school together, but we also went to middle school together. We'll play the message, and then I'll talk a little bit more about how we know each other.
Fab.
Hi, Alyson and Edward. This is Lauren, and against my better judgment, because I do hate the sound of my own voice, I am leaving you a voice message. My question for you two is, if you have any suggestions on how to teach young children a new language. I know this is totally different from what you usually talk about, but I would love any input you have on that topic. I know Alyson is really great on this. She actually has bought my kids some little French books, and that's helped us a lot. But if you have any other ways that I could teach my little babies French or any other language, that'd be great. Thanks, guys.
First of all, what a lovely voice.
Right?
Yeah, she's a beautiful
We just
voice.
have to say, I mean, myself included, like, everyone hates the sound of their own voice when you hear it from the outside. It's just like, that's not what I sound like. It's so god awful. But everyone else in the world is like, yeah, that's your voice. It's normal. It's great.
I love the sound of my voice.
Well, except you. You're a freaking weirdo.
Narcissist.
But, yeah. I mean, this message is right up our alley.
Oh, yeah.
We've both done this. You obviously for much longer than I have. So,
Too long.
I did say though, that I would talk a little bit more about how Lauren and I know each other.
Oh,
so
yes. Get into that.
We used to do cheerleading together.
Iconic.
Probably like, did you ever expect I was a cheerleader for my whole life? Well, I was.
Oh, it was like me? Yeah, I've known this, but I realized
Well,
you're talking to the listener.
I feel like from the outside looking in, you wouldn't look at me and be like, oh, cheerleader. But anyway, these are just my own stereotypes.
Okay.
So
I'm glad we're working
Lauren
through
and I-
this.
Yeah, Lauren and I did cheerleading together for many, many years. We also, this is really sad and embarrassing to admit, especially when we're about to start talking about teaching languages, because it's horribly incorrect. But in high school French class, we called ourselves the Français filles.
Yeah,
So-
that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad. But hey, we were in just like high school French 1 when we came up with this name, okay?
Oh, no, I get it. You think you have like a command of the language because like you're in high school and this is all you know. And then you start to realize as you get older that you truly did not know anything back in high school.
We knew nothing.
I didn't know anything in university.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way when I stupidly took a French course where there were only like 2 or 3 of us who were undergrads and everyone else was in grad school, like getting a master's in French. Whew. I was so dumb in that class. I felt like an idiot every time I had to open my mouth.
Oh,
But,
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
No, the stories I could tell from high school French class.
Oh, I can only imagine the stories
Are
in
incredible.
your little brain bank.
Oh my gosh. If we have time at the end, I'll tell some of the stories.
Like a reward system.
A reward system, but we do want to get to the message itself.
True. This is not about you. This is about the children.
Exactly. This is about the children. Lauren's children.
Specifically,
children.
only Lauren's children.
Only her children. Yeah. And I love that she sent this message in because, like I said, this is right up our alley. We've both taught children before. And
Have you ever taught young kids before?
not seriously. Well, so I taught young kids when I was living in France, but I was teaching them English, not French. But it's kind of like, teaching them a foreign language. Same premise.
When didn't you work at a high school?
I worked at a high school, but I tutored
yes.
3 different young children regularly throughout the entire time I was there.
Yeah, that's true. It's English. But I mean, at the same time, similar things going on there.
Exactly.
So my question for you, this is how I thought about starting this off, is when did you start learning a language? How old were you?
I was in middle school. And it's funny you asked this question because I was just talking to people about this yesterday. Here in the U.S., we don't start young enough. And there's not enough, in my opinion, there's not enough value placed on learning another language.
Yeah.
Like, I started in middle school, and the school district that I went to didn't even have options. It was either French or Spanish. So you would take the first class, which was called World Languages. So worldly, 2 whole languages.
I mean, that covers up a good portion of the earth.
I mean, true. Okay, this is a very valid point.
True. I mean, you're missing a lot of other stuff, obviously, but
valid point. Okay,
it's almost it's the entire not Western Hemisphere. It's the entire North and South. No, Portuguese. I lied. JK.
Almost.
2/3. Sure. I'm not good at math, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so like the first half of the semester would be Spanish, the second half would be French, and that was how you decided like which language you wanted to take next year. So yeah, I started that in middle school. Obviously, decided I liked French better. Spent my whole life with people saying, why'd you pick French? What are you gonna do with French? Literally, even up to like a few years ago, people were like, French? Like, what are you gonna do with that? Why wouldn't you do Spanish? I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah, I got one of those talks in high school.
Yeah. But I mean, starting young is key, in my opinion, to making the learning process easier.
Absolutely.
It won't be easy, but easier. Like, kids are sponges. They just absorb everything.
Yeah, there's an elasticity to the human brain when you're very young that obviously hardens as you get older, but then also the factor of motivation comes in. Like, when you're very young, you just do things because you're told to do them. And then learning a language gets ultimately a lot harder, especially when it comes to kids. Because if they don't really have the motivation for it, like they're not gonna retain any of the information. It's basically a waste of your time.
That's huge. I'm really happy you said that, actually, because of the kids that I've taught, I mean, obviously there are tips and tricks and kind of like methods you can use to help a kid learn the language, but I had a few kids who were super motivated to learn and very interested, and then some that just were not interested at all, and like no matter what I did, it just wasn't happening.
And there's always the whole, like, they're not motivated because maybe they just don't like it, but most of the times they don't like it is because they're not good at it, and the reason they're not good at it is because they learn a different way and they're not learning in that way, and yada yada yada, and it's a whole circle. So sorry, loud siren. So yeah, that is another issue. So it's kind of hard. You have to sort of, what's the word? Like try out? No, what's that? Guess and check.
No?
Guess and check. You need to sort of like guess and check your methods of teaching a child another language. Something's working for the kid, you're good to go. If it doesn't work, toss it out the window, try something else. Because a kid's not gonna do whatever they don't want to do.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Yep. So you've never really had language learning experience as a small child?
Nope. I remember. No, I had no language learning experience. Like myself.
I remember.
As
just kidding.
Child.
No.
Well, no, because I was gonna say there was just like nowhere to do it where I grew up. I remember there was one second grade teacher who would teach her class Spanish, and she was like literally out of the 3 elementary schools, she was the only one doing that, and she just did it on her own because she wanted to. And I remember being in elementary school and thinking like, that's weird.
Oh, a little judgy elementary school girl.
A little judgy.
Ooh. We started learning Spanish at my school in 1st grade.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but that was very random. It was like one teacher who did all 3 elementary schools, so it was just once a week. And it was a lot of days of the week, numbers, alphabet.
Yeah.
Months of the year.
Simple stuff.
Songs I will not sing for you now, but to the tune of the Addams Family.
I could still sing the alphabet song we learned and the color song we learned in middle school.
For French?
French and Spanish.
Oh. I could probably still sing the German alphabet for you.
Ooh.
But not going to happen. Not on this episode. Maybe in another one.
Maybe later.
Yeah.
We'll bless you all with our singing.
Yeah. So I was exposed to that quite young. Because you're what, 5, 6 years old in first grade? 6 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6, 7.
Yes. And then I was a little insane child who decided to, once I tore through all the French audiobooks for children at the library, I then decided to crawl my way into the adult section and check out the adult French learning materials, which, believe it or not, did not do me very much good. So don't recommend that as a child. But yeah, do you have any tips for language learning for little kids from what you've done?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes in line with what you said before. You have to figure out what works, but like fun activities make all the difference. So you just have to figure out which activities can hold your kids' attention and engage them. Like, one of the kids that I tutored absolutely loved to draw and paint. Mm-hmm. So we would roll out like one of those huge rolls of paper.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
We would just like roll it out, cover the whole table. We would get the paints out, and it's just a lot of like repetition, repeating the words over and over and over again, but you're doing it while you're doing a fun activity that they like and that gets their attention. So I feel like you have to figure out like what interests the kids. And obviously for Lauren, like these are her own kids. She knows what they're interested in.
Right. But then the other thing comes into play where it's hard for parents who don't speak another language to teach their kid another language. Right.
True.
So,
that's a good point.
I mean, obviously you just talk to your child in another language if you speak another language, doing activities that they like, of course, just like you had explained. But when it comes to parents who don't and want their kid to know another one, outside of getting a tutor or a nanny, which expensive, I know because I charge the money, and sometimes not always worth it. You have to find something else that they can just do. I mean, Did you ever watch Muzzy as a child?
Oh my gosh, Muzzy.
Yeah.
So
They
I
just
never
redid
actually
Muzzy.
watched it.
What?
But I loved the commercials. Like the Je suis la jeune fille.
Je suis la jeune fille.
The commercials were incredible, but I never actually watched Muzzy myself.
Yeah, that was a big staple in elementary school Spanish for me. And I actually used it a lot when I teach French here, because they just recently redid it. But I have an old version that I found on the internet. But Muzzy's always a good option because that's already talking to your child. There's a shit ton of YouTube videos out there. Not everything is for kids, but there's a lot of stuff. But you just have to find things that can talk to your kid for you. Right.
I mean, that's great. I didn't even think about YouTube, but that's brilliant. Like, I spend so much time watching YouTube videos, and that's something we didn't have as kids. Like,
no,
that wasn't there for us to learn.
And I'm sure her kids are already on YouTube all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, whose kids aren't on YouTube all the time?
Right.
So
one other thing, one other thing, too, kind of similar, is there are so many cartoons that, American kids already watch that are in other languages as well. Like in France, for example, I know like Paw Patrol was super popular.
Oh yeah, Ladybug is set in Paris.
Oh,
but I think they speak English, but you could switch it on Netflix to French.
Yeah. There are so many shows that your kids probably already watched that you can easily access in French or Spanish or Italian, another language. So they know the characters, they know the themes, they know what's going on, but it might be easier for them to grasp in another language because they're already familiar with it in their native language.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say apart from obviously consuming media, like, I mean, there's stories that you can be told and blah, blah, blah in different languages online too, but that's like more YouTube stuff, more consuming media. In terms of like games and stuff, I was thinking, obviously also music, like that's easy. I mean, your kids might learn a bad word, but they're not really going to know what it is. I mean, like,
that's me speaking Spanish, listening to all the Spanish music. Like,
well, Spanish in
so
particular is like
words.
very dramatic, very yeah. But that goes the same in English. Kids learn. I mean, how many songs did we learn that we then realized what the meaning was?
Years later,
Yeah.
I'm like, I sung this song. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. But then other than that, all I can think of is really just games, which for specifically for French, there's like a bunch on there. They're not the most aesthetically pleasing looking games, but they get the job done.
Yeah.
But I am a big Bamboozle user, and if you don't know what Bamboozle is, as a teacher, it's the only thing I did all year. Every teacher, when I would walk into the room, would be like, Bamboozle! The kids would be like, yes! And all the teachers would be like, oh my god, not again. It's basically... I don't know
what Bamboozle is.
Bamboozle's just like... It's like a game platform review sort of situation where you basically make the questions and answers, and then it randomizes it. You can put a different number of teams. You can just do one. You can do points, no points. You can like reset the scores instead of when you like get something wrong. And there's lots of ways. You can pay for more things to do as well. But it's always random. So like if you do play against the kids, like what I'll do, like I would win sometimes, but like not I didn't try to win. And I would just beat the kids because that's how the game works. Because there's like random things. But I was thinking that would be useful because if you just want your kid to review some words and stuff, plug and chug, play with your kid. You can play it like 40 times and it'll never be the same. So.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's
great.
That's really all I got.
I mean, that's helpful though.
Yeah.
There were definitely a few things that you brought up that I hadn't thought of before.
Well, I mean, I am a primary ESL teacher.
This is true.
At least that's what I put on my resume. Actually, that's a lie. I put English assistant on my resume. Sad. But yeah. Hopefully that was helpful.
I hope so.
Yeah. And if it wasn't, call in again and we'll explain some more.
Call in again and tell us to be more specific. I mean, the good thing is she does have like a very introductory knowledge of French. Like she took French
that's half the battle.
3 or 4 years in high school. So again, it's the basics. But like we got through all the verb tenses and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, and like I said, that's half the battle. Is if you already know some of it, that makes it much easier for you to have your kid learn even more than you know because you're pseudo familiar with it. If you are base level nada, that's when it gets a little bit more difficult and you really have to rely on external sources. Yeah. Well, that's the end of the pod. So no postcard update, right?
No postcard update.
Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe to us if you aren't already. And please call us at 202-630-4509 if you live in the U.S. And you can write in a message or send a voice message to our email at amessagefrompod@gmail.com. Check us out on amfpod.com for extra content. I think maybe we'll be doing some review thing or list of stuff. Who knows? And a message from on Insta to check out all the dumb things that I post on there. Till next time.
Ciao.
Adios.
Adios. Hasta mañana. Hasta luego.
The hasta mañana.
Not hasta mañana.
No.
Hasta pronto.
Sí.
En 2 semanas.
Sí. Bueno, una semana.
Bueno.
All right, we're done. Bye.